Hi, everyone. Welcome to Truth Bumps. It's good to have everyone here. This week, we are talking about how to tune into you and to pace through your experiences as you develop your psychic abilities. So my intention with this show this week is to share what it's like to have psychic abilities before you're really aware of what's happening. Because I think because of Hollywood and TV, we think that our experiences with psychic abilities and the paranormal should be very, very obvious. And sometimes it's not, especially in the beginning. Sometimes it's kind of subtle. And so I wanted to share some of my personal experiences about what it was like to be an empath before I really understood what it was to be an empath and what was happening. And I wanted to go into a little bit more detail on how it was impacting my life and how we can overcome feelings of disconnection, even though we're not disconnected. Sometimes it may feel like that. So I'll just see hi everyone who's joining. Thank you. Hi, Julie and Danny. Good evening. Hi, Linda and Donna. So good to see you guys here. Hi, Julie. I said Julie twice. It must have been meant to be. So welcome to tonight's show. I appreciate everyone being here. Being an empath is something I think is really, really common in humanity. Even beyond the psychic community, I think a lot of us are empaths and we don't know it. For anyone who's new to the terminology, being an empath, I guess, being empathetic is something that's commonly mentioned in like mental health and just general well-being. When someone says, oh, you're so empathetic, or we need more empathy, which I totally agree, we do. What they're talking about in that term is actually feeling for someone enough to be able to have compassion for them. So this might be someone who would disagree, and I think this is really pertinent for what's going on in the world right now. If you get a chance tonight, let's all say a little prayer and send some love into the world right now. But stay focused. When we have someone who we might disagree with, or we may not understand their point of view, it is often requires a little extra attention to have empathy, to imagine what it might be like in that person's shoes and understand where they might be coming from. Now, that doesn't mean you have to agree with them. That doesn't mean that you have to join sides. It just gives you an idea of where they're coming from. You don't have to condone their beliefs or their behaviors. It just gives you an idea of where they're coming from. So when we talk about someone who's empathic as a psychic ability, it's like taking that to the next level. So everyone is empathic. Everyone has this ability to feel energy and to feel emotion. It's part of the clairsentience psychic group. Clairsentience is the science of feeling energy, and clairsentience stands for clear feeling. So it's one of the 4 or 5 major clairs that take our just 5 regular senses and goes beyond the physical of what we can tangibly feel. So everyone has the ability to feel energy. And one exercise you can do to prove this to yourself is to rub your hands together. I'm going to try and do this away from the mic. But if you take a moment and you rub your hands together for a few seconds, you can start to feel that there's heat and there's friction. But if you pause and you stop and then you put your hands and just hold them away from each other, you should be able to feel something between them when they're not touching. And what that is that's energy. And when you get really practice at it, then you can build it out. You can feel it all the way out here. So if we can feel our own energy just between the palms of our hands, we can most definitely feel the energy of the people we live with, the people we walk beside, the people we work with. We all have these energy fields that tend to overlap one another. And these are directly tied to our feelings. Whatever we're feeling in that moment kind of gets transmitted like a projector out in our energy field. And anyone passing through our energy field can pick up on that. Now, there is a whole spectrum of sensitivity when we're talking about energy and picking up on energy. So, for instance, I'm very, very much an empath. My daughter has inherited that gift. And we will often pick up on each other's energy. We have to be very careful about how we are reading off of each other. When she was a little girl, she could always tell when something was bothering me. Even 5, 6 years old, she would ask me, "Mom, are you okay?" And of course, as the parent, you don't want to worry your child. You don't want them to be, consumed with anything that's on your mind. So you tell them, "Yes, honey, I'm fine." And she'd tell me, "Mommy, are you tricking me? I think you're tricking me," because she knew and she could feel my energy, and she understood that even though I was saying one thing, the reality was something different. And we can we all have a piece of that or a bit of a sense of that. I'm missing comments. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Robin. So nice to see you here. Thank you, everyone, for joining. So, we all have this innate ability to feel energy and to pick up on it. Empaths feel it to their core. So we've all walked into a room and felt the energy of a room or read a room. We understood when it wasn't appropriate to tell a joke, or we understood that we didn't know what was happening, but something heavy was happening in the room at the time. That's all a part of this feeling energy, and being aware of your surroundings and what's happening in your environment. So the thing with an empath is that unless they're really aware of what it is and what's happening, they will feel other people's feelings. And this is, directly tied to energy. So if the energy is the first layer that we might meet up against, the feelings are what are kind of building up into that energy layer. So empaths can sometimes feel down into the next layer of that just naturally. They're not out there trying. They're not out there specifically scanning. And I do believe that all of us have the ability to be an empath. We are all empathic to some degree. I think it's meant to be able to have that compassion and understanding. So the whole point of being an empath, the way that you use these gifts, is that you can gain more insight to someone's circumstances. So how often have we come into an interaction with someone and they were unhappy, they were short, maybe they were rude, and we take that personally, like, I didn't do anything, I don't deserve that. And that's all very true. Well, what someone who's not an empath may not understand is the events leading up to that they had a very bad day, that they had a rough conversation. An empath is able to feel into that and understand a little bit more about what's going on with that individual when they're trained. Now, an untrained empath, someone who doesn't know what's going on, would actually feel the issues that that person's having as if they were their own. So if that person they've encountered is feeling unloved or betrayed, they will take those feelings and all of a sudden, for whatever the reason, they feel betrayed or unloved. And it's very frustrating to go through life and one moment just be fine minding your business, and then the next moment having these really deep and potent feelings that you have no idea why they're there, and you feel responsible for handling them. So I'm pretty passionate about spreading the word around what an empath is, what it's like to feel someone else's depth and deepness, and be able to release it. I think we need to have more of that awareness of what it is and how to release it. So there have been times, like early in my training, once I understood what was happening, and I had started to become aware that a large portion of the very strong feelings that I was feeling weren't actually my own. They were the people I was living with. They were the people at the grocery store. I've heard other empaths mention that they will actually, especially during COVID, they will actually go and avoid the grocery store altogether, maybe go in the evening or in the middle of the night at a 24-hour stop. And I've done the same thing too. There was one moment when I was going through really understanding what my energy felt like versus what someone else's energy feels like. And I had gone to the grocery store. I was fine pulling in. I was fine in the car. And the moment I stepped out of the car, I just started feeling resentment. I started feeling anger that I wasn't supposed to be there. It wasn't fair. And this would have been early into the whole COVID thing. So you're looking at like May or even June, when we were really focused on our critical workers, and grocery store employees were part of that. But I started feeling resentment. I was angry that I was even there. I was angry that other people were there and treating and being rude. I was angry at the expectations that were placed upon me. And these are all the things that I was feeling. And then when I stopped and I paused to check in and see what I was feeling, it didn't make sense that I was feeling these things. And when I realized that it didn't make sense that I was feeling these things, and I understood these aren't actually the things that I am feeling, they are the things that I'm feeling from the workers, they're feelings that I'm getting from other shoppers, I was able to take a deep breath and understand that I needed to release it and come back to my own energy. It would get to the point that I'd go into the grocery store and I'd be so aggravated that I would start being short with some of my responses. And once we become aware of what's happening, then we have the responsibility to manage it so that we can use our powers for good and not evil. It really is like the old superhero phrase. So, the way we use empathy for good is we, like any psychic ability, we want to observe, not absorb. And so we want to be able to get enough information coming in to understand why someone might be feeling the way that they're feeling, but we don't want to own that as our own. And I remember when I would just get so shocked every time that I would feel something that wasn't my own. It literally feels like it was born and bred within you, that it's your own to deal with. And I remember using the analogy to my friend, like when you first start becoming into your awareness around being an empath, and you're responsible for cleaning up your own personal stuff. It's like someone says, you got to get in there and you got to clean it up, but it's all your stuff, so don't worry about it. And then once you're halfway through and you're cleaning it up, someone says, well, it's actually not just your stuff, it's everyone else's. And it just doesn't give you a great feeling to know that you have been taking in all of this other unnecessary stuff all of the time. It actually kind of makes you feel a little gross. And so it's really important that awareness is actually number one before you do anything else, that this is what could happen and this is the way it feels and the way it could look. So Kelly says, relationships, they don't think of empathy. You can't hear this. I have earbuds and I don't know. Yeah, I think it's that energy that's going out there. And I'm so, oh, Kelly, you're so kind. Thank you so much. But I think we do start to kind of ride universal wavelengths. Part of talking about this is kind of like shining that lighthouse light out into the world and attracting anyone who needs to hear the message. So I'm so glad to hear that. Other times I would be sitting on the couch and I'd be feeling fine, and someone would walk into the room and they'd be sitting on the couch, and all of a sudden I'm just so tired. And when I take a double check and understand why, or try to understand why something had shifted so drastically, so quickly, it would come to me immediately, oh, this is that person. This is the way that person is feeling. And literally what would happen is in that moment, that person would be like, man, I'm just so tired, which was a complete validation that that's what's happening. So with most things like riding a bike, you learn it once. They say you learn it once, you never forget, right? Well, number one, I cannot ride a bike anymore. And I used to ride it fine when I was a kid. But working with your gifts like this actually take constant maintenance. So this is a practice, almost like a dedicated, what's the word I'm looking for? Where you're very practiced in constantly asking yourself, what am I feeling? And is it mine? You always have to check in with yourself and kind of get into the habit that when something shifts dramatically, especially one way or another, when you go from feeling this to this, all of a sudden, those are moments that you have to be mindful enough to pause and stop and say, wow, that was really dramatic. And it doesn't make sense that I'm feeling like this. What's going on here? And if you just take a moment to kind of tune into that, then you can understand who you might be picking up on instead. So the way that this all starts, the thing that we start with the most is feeling our own energy and getting very intimate with what we feel like. And everyone's unique. Everyone's got a different vibration. But you have to know yourself before you can start to know others. That's a message that I'm finding that is repeated throughout so many other different scenarios. If you're in a plane, you have to help yourself before you can help others. You have to heal yourself before you can heal others. You have to love yourself before you can love others. And this is no different, right? So it all comes back to our internal focus and how we can deepen our connection with ourselves and really get to know ourselves more intimately. And I think sometimes that's scary for some of us. We don't want to do that because we've been hurt or we have been taught that it's selfish and it's not very attractive to focus on yourself. We've been taught that in this society, it's actually better to break ourselves and give ourselves away to other people before we do anything for ourselves. And what we've created is a society that is disconnected with themselves, and they honor martyrs, and they actually feel entitled and owed people's energy and attention and time, their personal resources, before anything else. So I think part of one of my personal mission statements is to normalize getting to know each other after we get to know ourselves, and providing that emotional, mental, and energetic support to be able to get to know ourselves. Excuse me. Any questions on this so far? Let me know what you guys think, or any experiences that you've had. I'd love to know if you've had any early empathetic experiences or empathy experiences. So obviously I'm gonna say something that I've repeated over and over and over again. I'm gonna ask you not to roll your eyes again. But one of the best ways that we can get to know our own energy and be intimate with that in ourselves is to meditate. It is that time for us to be quiet and to still our mind, just even for a few minutes, for us to be able to feel what we feel like in a baseline state. So if we get a baseline state of what we feel like, then we can immediately start to process anything that changes that or alters that. I read something just today, I think by Gabby Bernstein, where she said meditation can be as simple as finding your pulse. And I just love that, because it simplifies meditation down to its core, where you're just taking a moment to yourself, where you're not going to be distracted, and you're just finding a pulse point and focusing on that pulse just for a few minutes. That alone is enough to help you or support you in clearing your mind and quieting down on focusing on you. Some of the things that we can do as empaths with our gifts is we can actually help transmutate the energy of the area or the region. And so, like right now, if I had a group of empaths, we could actually, who were trained and available, we could actually help try to take some of the fear and the anger and the stress and the hurt in the world right now and transmutate that back down into the earth. That doesn't mean we're taking it on and keeping it. It just means we're kind of, pulling it in and filtering it through and then releasing it down to the earth to a degree. What unfortunately happens more often, especially when we're not trained, is that we take in that energy into ourselves and we keep it there and we kind of spin on it and we try to rationalize what's happening. Meanwhile, the person that you've taken the energy from feels a lot better. So we have just taken their right to be able to process their own things. And actually, when I was first starting to work with my gifts, that's one of the things that my guides had told me, was that when you don't allow other people to feel their things, you're taking away that right for them to process it. So it's a beautiful thing that we can use to help kind of even things out. But really, if you're not careful, what you're doing is you're just taking on a lot of stuff from yourself onto yourself, away from people who need to be able to feel that to begin with. Let's see here. Oh, that's awesome. Is that, Julie, is that super attractor or the universe has your back? I'm reading The Universe Has Your Back right now, and I can't wait. I'm kind of taking my time to digest that. And actually, I just bought that book for my mom. We're going to make a little book club out of it. And I can't wait to move on to Super Attractor after that. She's fantastic. Anyone who's interested in getting to know how to shift fear to love, or how to do like super manifestation and super attracting, Gabby Bernstein's a fantastic resource. Oh, very cool. Okay. Very cool. I may not know that one. I'll have to go back and take a look at that one, but I highly recommend The Universe Has Your Back. Yeah. Yeah, Kelly, I know. I've bought like 6 books in the last 3 weeks. I'm like, well, this will take me through half the year, I'm sure. Awesome. Oh, Sharon, I love that idea. I will. Anyone who's interested in going through like a meditation, here at the end of the show, I'll guide us through a meditation that helps kind of alleviate some of the pain and fear and worry in the world right now and within ourselves. So I love that idea. I think that's a fantastic idea for tonight. We'll definitely do that. All right, Donna, this is a great question. So I don't know that you can, when I hear block someone's energy, it means that you can never feel it. And when we're an empath, I think it's impossible not to feel at least something. The best thing that we can do instead of completely blocking someone, oh, sorry, Greg. Okay. Yeah. All right, Greg, I got you. We can do that in the group tonight. I think that's a great idea. But instead of blocking someone, what we need to do is kind of protect ourselves. And there are 1,000,001 ways to protect your energy. One of my favorite ways to protect my energy is we use a white light bubble around ourselves. So if you're in the process of feeling something that's not your own, one thing that you can do immediately is recognize, okay, I'm feeling this anger or this fatigue or this sorrow, and it's not mine. I'm going to release it. And you can actually tell the universe, I thank you, universe, for releasing all energy that is not my own and for my highest and greatest good. And when you say that, just take a deep breath in and blow it out and just shake it out and just release it. And you should be at that point feeling a little bit lighter and starting to kind of recover from the energy that you were holding on to. Now, outside of that, once you've released, you're going to want to protect. And that's where that white light comes in. And there's a couple ways that we can do this. We can imagine the white light starting outside of us and capturing us all, head to toe, all around, under the feet and everything. Or what I like to do is pick a point in the body, like at my heart or at my belly button, and imagine a white light ball that starts there. And this, it's more like a golden sunlight, okay? This golden sunlight is nothing but God's pure love and protection. And this is the light that we have available to us 24/7, nonstop, all of the time. Even when we're feeling our lowest lows, even when we're feeling like it's just like I can't get out of bed today, we have this white light available to us all the time. So you start off with envisioning that there's this white light bubble somewhere in your heart or your belly button. And as you inhale deeply, it starts to grow. Okay? As you exhale, it'll pause growing, but you'll exhale anything that's not of your greatest good. And you'll exhale that down to the ground where Mother Earth gets to take the energy back in. And you don't have to be outside or anything. You can do this from your second-story house or your basement or wherever. Just know that your intention is sending anything that's not of your greatest good down to the earth. And you continue to do that breathing exercise until that white light fills up your entire body, all of your cells, all of your molecules, all of the spaces in between, up through your head, and then it actually starts to grow outside of your body. And then once it encapsulates your entire body, you are protected. And if you wanted to take it a little bit further, you could push it out a couple feet from your body so that it's not just your body and you, but also your auric fields, because we have, I forget how many, 6 or 7 aura fields. So let me know what you guys think about that. If you have any questions about how to protect when you have some energy that's not your own, And I would recommend that practice anytime you go out in public, or anytime that you even if you have to work remotely online, you're still working with other people's energy and the energy of your equipment. So protecting every day, a couple times throughout the day, is always a fantastic practice to just kind of keep us in a good place. You're welcome, Donna. Most welcome. So, the other thing I wanted to share was how we can use our empathic abilities when, for any of us who like to do paranormal investigating. So in October, when I went on an investigation with shadow hunters at the Rhodes Hotel, at the beginning of the night, you just kind of feel out the place. And I remember when we were sitting in the front parlor, I could specifically feel a presence in the doorway across the room from me, and a couple of presences in the doorway and the hallway beyond it next to me. And I was, just kind of feeling into the energy. It was a very curious feeling. Whoever was standing there just wanted to see what we were doing, what we were going to do. And I was kind of validated in this because I hadn't said anything to anyone. It's not like I was watching. I was just kind of sitting in my space and just feeling these energies. When I think it was Sharon, an investigator to my right, who said there's definitely something in the hallway over there. So feeling energy kind of feels like a vibration of a drum, where you may not have to physically touch the drum, or if you've ever been in a parade and heard the marching band play and you can feel the bass of the bass drum, that's what feeling energy is like. It's often some kind of quality of vibration. And when we start really practicing our psychic abilities, we can take that vibrational feeling and start to grow it out and understand who's there, what they look like, what their story is, and get those impressions beyond that once we really develop and grow. So, let's see here. So, yeah. Has anyone else had oh, right. Thanks, Kelly. Yeah. And the entire time that we were standing or sitting downstairs, I remember as the evening went on, the more we were downstairs, the less interaction we were getting. Consistently kept hearing this female voice telling me, come upstairs, I'll take care of you. Come upstairs and I'll take care of you. And for anyone who knows the history of the Rhodes, it made me chuckle so much. She was very interested in having fun. That was a good time, that whole trip. And we're getting ready to do another investigation in a couple weeks that I think I'm going to be able to join, and I'm really excited about. So, but yeah, feeling other people's energy is a really hot topic in the psychic community. And I think it's something that we can't get away from, because we can't live completely secluded lives in a practical way. And for some of us who are the most sensitive, even if we were to live completely secluded lives from the living, then there's always the dead and, the spirits that come through, and just, understanding what boundaries that you want to put in place to keep yourself sane when those energies are coming through. So yeah, I'm open to doing a meditation tonight to kind of help clear any fear or any anxiety that we're experiencing. If anyone's interested, we can start that now. And before we do, just wanted to take any questions we have on some of the topics that I covered tonight. and see if there's anything else or any other comments or stories that anyone would like to share. Cool. Thank you, Julia. That's awesome. All right, well, let's do it then. And then if there are comments or questions afterward, we'll be around for that. So I'm going to move my microphone down a little bit. I try not to breathe directly into it. But we got to take those deep breaths in and out, don't we? All right. So let's go ahead and close our eyes and get in a comfortable place, whatever you need to do to make your body feel like it's comfortable and supported. And take a moment and just do a little sigh, a little deep breath in and sigh it out. And just sit with yourself for a moment and notice what comes up. Allow it to come up without judgment. Thank it for coming up and giving you awareness. And allow it to go. Like as if you were letting go of a hot air balloon or a helium balloon. And here, take a moment and just feel your energy. What does it feel like around your heart? What does it feel like in your arms? Take a deep breath in and hold it for just a second. And on the exhale, release any resistance that you have. Take another deep breath in, slow and deep. Hold it for just a second. And then release. Continue to breathe in and out at your own pace, deepening your sense of relaxation. With each breath, noticing anywhere there is tension in your body and letting it go. Breathe in, breathe out. And I want us to envision that we're sitting in a forest. There is dapple sunlight coming through the trees. It is warm and sunny. There are birds chirping, bunnies hopping. It's this beautiful space where there's no fear, where nature and man interact seamlessly. And here on the mossy-covered forest floor, you just become aware of this sense of deep peace. And with that, You welcome any animal friends that want to come up to you. Any animal friend whatsoever. Just allow them to approach you with a childlike awe. Maybe you have a little food that you can give them. But as you interact with them, you notice joy. You're bringing joy into yourself in this place that is so safe and peaceful. This is also a safe place to release any doubt or worry that we've acquired recently and come back to our own self-love. We're able to take the energy into this place and be rejuvenated. And while we're here, using the energy of this place, we will fortify ourselves with that golden light bubble that starts just above our belly button. And we're going to breathe into that light and allow it to grow. And we're going to exhale any resistance or worry that we have. And breathe deeply. Continue to grow the white light through your entire body. Down your legs, up your back, through your shoulders, down your arms, up your neck, and across your head and face. Continue to deep breath in that white light. And once it has filled your entire body, push it out beyond you and continue to grow it out as far as it'll reach, out into the world, out to meet the white light of others doing this. It goes through your room, through your home, through the building that you're in, through your neighborhood and down the street, across the city, across the state, and the country. And notice any areas that need a little extra white light and attention. Really focus on those areas. Spread it out across the world, the oceans, so that our light together is healing the world and helping it release any energy that's not for its highest and greatest good. And with this, we are giving the intention of peace and hope to the billions and trillions of earthly inhabitants. And sharing that with them, we're giving and we're receiving. Connected, together. Take a moment to enjoy this vision of a protected and loving earth that we're all a part of. Take a deep breath in and exhale love and peace. And when you're ready, come back to your body, knowing that you have helped heal the world. you have helped heal yourself, and that we are all connected and here for each other. Begin to wiggle your toes and your fingers. Come back into the room. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Ooh, I needed that more than I realized. How about you guys? Whew. Anyone else feeling tingly? You're welcome. My pleasure. Totally my pleasure, guys. Oh, that is so cool. If you feel into that, can you sense what that might have been? Is there a way that, can you sense whether that was part of you or spirit, or what do you think that was? Or what does it feel like? That's better. What's it feel like? I'm so glad we did this. Thank you, everyone, for meditating with me. This was awesome. I've literally got truth bumps going up and down my right side. It's like... So, anybody want to talk about anything that they experienced? That's totally cool, Donna. Sometimes it's just okay to observe and not read too much into it. So that is just so awesome. You had that experience. Very cool. Oh, Julie, thank you so much. I'm so glad you guys enjoyed it. I have considered doing some recorded meditations. So I think that's going to actually be, and I just got goosebumps on that. So I think that's going to be something that comes this year, but I just love doing it for everyone. I'm so glad. Awesome. Well, this is what I wanted to share tonight on empathy. I'm so glad that we had the chance to do a healing meditation for ourselves and the world. The nice thing is anytime that you want to come back to this episode, as well as all the episodes, will be on the Psychics Unite YouTube channel. And I probably, I may even pull the segment out and save it separately if anybody would like a copy of it to review later. But I am really, really thrilled that we had the chance to do this. So unless there's any other questions for tonight or experiences that you'd like to share, I just want to wish everyone lots of peace and love right now. I know that we're still, as a country and a world, going through some transition, and it's just very important that we show ourselves love so that we can show others love, and try to diffuse any situations that might come up for us that are not of our highest and greatest good. So if anyone feels like they need some extra support, Psychics Unite. I know that I'm always toting this and it's starting to sound whatever, but I really can't express enough how amazing of a family Psychics Unite is. And especially right now, in this time where we're just kind of questioning what the heck's going to happen. Not only do we have an all chapter meeting every Monday night, but there's also local chapter meetings happening. And the Facebook community is quite strong. So feel free to pop into the Psychics Unite community or some of the chapter communities and join there and reach out to anyone there. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad. Thank you. I'm going to assume that's Greg because he followed it up with this. Thank you. I appreciate that. I love you all so much. We have another amazing show. We have a whole lineup every week. We have a complete lineup of amazing shows and events that happen week after week. Tomorrow night is the Shadow Hour with Greg Koss. Please don't miss it. It's an amazing 1-hour program right here at the same time on Shadow Hunters Paranormal Investigation and Events Facebook page. Every Monday night, we reserve that spot to be open for our All Chapter Psychics Unite meeting. The meeting details, that meeting always happens over Zoom, and the details are always posted the Sunday before. So anyone who's interested in coming to see what that's like, it's always a good time. It's just like a really fun and informational place to just share and support each other. Then Tuesday nights, you have two Oracle Card Tuesdays with Sharon. And she is, I caught her show this week, and she's just like, all of her messages, the beautiful thing about Oracle Card messages is that even though the message is for one person, it is often for anyone listening to it or catching that resonates with. And I know that a lot of the messages that she was giving last Tuesday was like, wow, that one's for me too. That one's for me too. So it's always fun to listen in, even if you don't get a card, but it's the best to get a card. Wednesday nights is Scotty Talks with Scotty O'Rourke. And he always has amazing guests that talk everything about psychic abilities to paranormal abilities and paranormal investigations. And then that leads us to Thursday nights. Looks like we got some more questions here. So, Laura, I think we have more transition happening. I'm not getting any specifics, but I am getting the message that being very kind to ourselves and kind to other people. So I don't see anything happening that we can't recover from. It's nothing like that. But I think this is a time where empathy is needed in general. We need to have empathy for ourselves and others, especially if we're on two sides of the fence, even though some of the radical things that have happened here recently might actually pull us together, because I'm seeing people on both sides who don't agree with some of the things that are unfolding. But I don't think it's anything that we can't recover from. We just need to stay present with ourselves and remind ourselves that we are safe and that we're loved. Through things like this meditation tonight, that's a really great way to help with that. And then, oh, wonderful, Barbara. I'm so glad. Yes. I'll tell you what, everyone, I will share to my business page and Shadowhunters page and my personal page. I'll take this meditation out and actually make it into an MP3 that you can download somehow. And anyone who would like to return back to it, that'll be available for you. And many prayers for you. I think it's all, everything's gonna work out in the end for everyone right now. I know it's just a little iffy. And then, yep, I totally agree. With that. Sharon is the best Oracle card reader. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night. I so appreciate your time and love. I'll keep you guys posted as I get that MP3 put together for this little snippet. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night. I love you all.